Reporting on the games you love by people who love to game. The MMO Reporter Network.
You're listening to The Happy Hearthstone. This show is brought to you by Doghouse Systems, who make some of the most powerful gaming PCs around and have awesome customer service from my own experience. Use the coupon code MMOReporter at doghousesystems.com and get a free 120GB SSD on top of the 1TB hard drive that comes with your system. By Audible, hands down the best audiobook service in the entire universe. Seriously, if you have any sort of commute or just prefer to listen to your books, you've got to check Audible out. Go to audibletrial.com/MMOReporter and get a free 1-month trial and a free audiobook. If you'd like to directly support this show and the nice people who make it, you can find more information at gamediplomat.com/donate. Hello friends, a quick note about this episode. Andrew had some technical difficulties and we lost his half of the track. So we had to use our backup, which is still good, but the audio quality is definitely subpar this episode. Huge apologies. We'll do better next time. Thanks. And enjoy the show! Hello and welcome to episode 49 of the Happy Hearthstone podcast, the longest running Hearthstone podcast in the history of space and time and cards. I'm your host, Josh Augustine, and this week I am joined by a wonderful new guest from the community, Andrew Brown.
What's going on, Josh?
Not too much, dude. How are you doing?
I'm doing so good.
So good? Wait, why are you doing so good?
It's just good to be, doing this thing, talking some Hearthstone. It's good.
Yeah, I can dig it. All right, doing so good. Well, maybe I'm doing so good too. Maybe
you are
so much better even.
Why don't you tell us about it?
Maybe I will. So, all right. So, Andrew, you have never been on the show before.
Yeah.
You contacted me when I sent out the call to arms a while back.
I did.
Said you just wanted to be on the show. Tell me about your experience with Hearthstone and card games and why you're here.
Yeah, absolutely. So I was raised in a Mac household, which was kind of weird, right?
That's for me.
Yeah, that was before like the colorful iMacs and all that. I don't even remember what it was called, honestly, but my dad was a big fan of Macs, and he was kind of a gamer too. And back in that time, there weren't many AAA titles that were on Mac. Really, the only company that was kind of doing the cross-platform thing was Blizzard. So I was raised on stuff like Warcraft, StarCraft, Diablo, all those old school ones we had.
Yeah.
I even played a little bit of WoW when I went off to college, but kind of stopped doing that. Honestly, I'm a little embarrassed because it took me a long time before I heard about Hearthstone for whatever reason, but I saw an ad when Naxxramas got released, and I thought, okay, Blizzard only comes out with great stuff. And it's free, so I've really got nothing to lose. And I'd gotten into some card games when I was a kid, too, and I thought, hey, this could be really fun to try out. And I've got nothing to lose except for my time. And, that's... and I'm sure you can relate, but Hearthstone just fills this beautiful void of being a game that's really easy to pick up and play if I've only got 5 minutes. And if I've got longer time, I can really sink in, try out some new decks, do an arena run, something like that. So... So yeah, pretty avid player now, but it's been a fun ride. Yeah.
All right. So what are you into most? Are you into constructed decks or arena?
For a long time, all I would play was arena, and after a while, I realized I want my gold to be higher than 0 for longer than a few days.
Yeah.
So over the past few months, I've started doing a lot of constructed, and that's been a lot of fun too. But I would say, honestly, I have the most fun with Arena just because it's never the same twice. And sometimes the meta can get a little bit dull, if you play it too much or play the same deck. And Arena, you just never know what you're going to get for your own deck, and you never know what your opponent's going to have either. If they're going to choose a Bluegill Warrior because that was the right pick, or whatever. So
it is exciting every game.
I think so. So I really enjoyed that. Yeah.
Okay. So I got to ask before we go in.
Sure.
Because obviously Frid, whose deck I'm going to be using this week, is like, he came on the show last time, was like, oh, by the way, I just beat all these pro players in a tournament, and I'm probably going to be a pro player now.
Right.
So
right.
Are you hiding any like pro player experience that you're going to try and trounce me with?
As much as I wish I would, I am very much an everyman when it comes to this game.
All right.
So I enjoy playing it. The highest rank I've gotten to is 3, so I've done pretty well.
Hey,
but
that's not shabby at all.
Not too shabby, but definitely not a pro player by any stretch of the imagination.
Somewhere out there, one of our listeners is like, 3. Pathetic. But I think the vast majority of them are impressed by getting up to rank 3.
It takes a lot of work sometimes, but it's fun being up there.
So what
Even
was
if
the
it's a
deck
short
that
stint.
that got you there? I got it.
It was a
this deck?
mid-range. No, it was actually a mid-range hunter. It was before that really became a thing. That's the one time I've really been ahead of the curve with the meta, and yeah, I just climbed really fast with it. And it was one of those things where you're, just feeling the adrenaline, and you're like, oh, I can win more. I can win more. I mean, the real truth is I was ranked 3 for about 5 minutes before I got back down to,
Hey.
and then steadily dropped.
As long as you took a screenshot, it lasts forever.
Oh, that's right. It lasts a lifetime. So
Awesome. Well, I'm glad you're here, Andrew.
thanks for having me, man.
So let's talk about, before we get any deeper, why we're happy this week. Why don't you go first?
Yeah. Well, just in life, I'm getting settled. Me and my wife are making a big transition to a new state, so we just finished moving, and
Wow.
we're kind of in the beginning places of making, our house into a home, So
Yeah.
we got some ways to go, but it's kind of nice to be done with that.
And you have internet, so you can play Hearthstone. So
yes,
that's good.
yes, that's important, right? So, and we actually just got a little puppy, so that's a really good reason to be excited.
So
Yeah.
my wife would be very sad if I didn't ask, even though I won't understand your answer. What
Sure.
type of puppy?
Yeah, it's a lab mix. So,
Okay.
much smaller than a normal lab, so she's got to have something else in her, but we're not quite sure. We might get blood tests one day to find out what she really is, but she's got the face of a lab for sure. She's just a little bit smaller.
Okay, very cool.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Well, for me, I'm happy because I actually I had a recent change at my job.
Well, congratulations.
Thank you. Yeah,
As long as it was a good one.
it was a good one. Thankfully, wouldn't that have been depressing? Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm so happy I got fired this week.
Don't want that.
No, so for people that don't know, I work at Daybreak Games. Used to be Sony Online Entertainment, working on a game called EverQuest Next.
Mm-hmm.
And I do design work there. And I recently moved up to content lead, where I'm heading up the content team and kind of just helping keep us on track to get all of our content goals done and all that sort of stuff. So I'm excited. I get to focus more on the stories, the characters, and that side of thing, which I love. So I'm very excited.
Very cool. Is this like a dream job for you in the company?
Yeah, dude, it is about as dreamy as it gets.
Wow.
I'm just loving it because it's fantasy, it's stories, it's world building, it's characters, it's everything I love.
Mm. That's
is
pretty
very
awesome, man. Well, congrats. I'm
Thanks.
sure the entire community congratulates you all together at once. So
Thank you, Andrew. You can speak for the community for the rest of this episode.
at least for this episode, right?
At least. Yeah, go ahead and send in letters later just representing the community as
Yes.
well.
Yes, there you go.
The community decided that your episode was the best episode. Can you
Ha,
believe it?
I win.
All right, so let's talk about a couple things in news before we get to the deck battle. First, the big news today that just came out, we're recording this on Wednesday. A news post went up on the Hearthstone site called The Innkeeper's Tale, a Mysterious Patron, which
Ooh.
sadly was not a ghost story, which I was actually looking forward to.
Oh, well.
But it's basically, they're teasing a new hero coming out, and it looks like it's going to be a warrior hero because they put a little silhouette with the warrior icon underneath. All the hints point towards it being a dwarf, because the tweet that went out said, what this character lacks in height, he makes up for in ferocity. And the silhouette that they showed is very much a dwarf silhouette. So I got to ask this, because people are asking, so I want to take bets right here, right now, Andrew.
Oh, mama.
Yeah, for pride. For your
Money,
stake,
Mary Mathis.
when you actually, let's do money since you represent the whole community. So if you're
That's
wrong,
right.
everybody owes me money.
Everyone, all
Yeah.
at once.
Do you think this is a new hero, and do you think it's going to have a new hero power or just visuals?
I want it to be a new hero power, and I think I really do speak for everyone when I say that. Variety is the spice of life, and in Hearthstone, it's fun to have that different variety. A new hero power basically is a new hero, and as much as everyone's been wanting Death Knight and what's the other class? I'm
Monk.
missing. Monk, yeah. As much as everyone's been wanting those, that would be way over the top. So something like this could really fill the gap for a long time. So I want it to be a new power, but I feel like that also would be just a lot of balancing issues. So I think more than likely we're just going to see this change visually and change the audio, cues that the character says. So that's my best guess.
Oh, I'm glad you took that bet because I wanted to bet the other side. I think it's bringing new hero powers, dude.
Come on, man, bring it.
So two things. First of all, this since day one, I think it was like episode 2 of this show, we talked about wanting heroes with new hero powers. It's like the first thing we wanted. Wow. So I have to keep believing, just because it makes so much sense. Just changing the hero power, right, for the warrior class, for example, you have all the same warrior cards. I mean, you can build totally different style of decks. Like you could, if it somehow feeds into like Enrage Warrior deck, right, like that instantly kind of makes that a part of the meta. If the hero power fits so well into that. So I'm believing.
Here's my question, though. Do you really think that they can get creative enough to come up with something that's viable and unique for each class and still balanced with what's already there?
Dude, I have zero doubt that they can do that. For 2 reasons. One, because they're Blizzard, and they're the Hearthstone team, and they've accomplished everything they've tried to so far, so I think they could do it. And 2, because the WoW trading card game, which kind of the gameplay of Hearthstone was kind of loosely based on, had multiple heroes, and each one had a different hero power. And actually, they didn't always, but they could have differing health totals as well in the trading card game. So I think they're going to have, if they want to look to that for inspiration, because Blizzard helped make that game, so it's not stealing, it's their stuff. If they wanted to look there for inspiration, they have a pretty good starting place to help identify any balance concerns. So obviously the cards are different. But yeah, I have no doubt that they could do it. I'm sure it will take a lot of time, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
But I have no doubt that they can accomplish it. So, all right, bet 1, you're on. Bet 2,
let's do it.
What character do you think it is? And I'm gonna cheat here, right?
There
are 2 that most of the people that I've talked with think it is. So we're just going to pick between 1 and 2, unless you have some crazy out there idea that is just better than the whole community. Is that what you're saying, Andrew? Are you now better than the whole community?
No, wait. I didn't go that far. In fact, I'm going to take the way opposite side because honestly, I know very little about the lore that's outside of Hearthstone. So I kind of have to go with you on this one, man. So all right, well, I got to know what you're thinking.
I've got a strong opinion here.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Even though conventional wisdom is against me so far on this, I think it's Muradin. Because Muradin is a dwarf that's apparently in World of Warcraft. I don't know. I play Horde, so I may have killed him once. That's all I know. But he's also in Heroes of the Storm. And so it feels like, okay, this is an important dwarf. They want to get in multiple games. Why not put him in Hearthstone, too?
It would make sense.
But people are saying based on the silhouette and based on action figures that it's a different dwarf. I think a brother or uncle or cousin. They have the same last name, Stormhammer.
Okay.
Magni. Because apparently his weapon has a loop on the end, which this silhouette does, too.
Ooh, that's a big deal.
Yeah, so,
you're willing to look past the loop?
Yeah, dude. Silhouettes don't mean nothing to me. I follow my heart, Andrew.
Okay.
My heart says believe in Muradin.
That's not a bad thing to follow.
So are you going to stand on the Magni side?
I don't know. Those weapons are pretty iconic usually for WoW characters. So I kind of want to play devil's advocate on this one and go with Magni.
Okay, that's cool. That's good. I mean, if you're wrong on both bets, you're never allowed back on the show. And if you're right on both, you just take over the show.
There we go.
So you can be the new host.
All or nothing.
Yeah.
I like it.
All right. Other news this week, Heroes of the Storm came out, which is Blizzard's MOBA game, which is very fun. Andrew, you said you jumped in, right?
I did, yeah.
What'd you think?
I had a little bit of experience with MOBAs before. Nothing. I think I tried Dota once, and it was just ridiculous, so I was like, poo on that. But
speaking for the whole community, you said
that's
poo
right,
on that.
For the whole community. No, but when I tried out Heroes, the tutorial really kind of walked you through, and that's really what I like about it. Is it feels way more accessible than a lot of Dota or League of Legends. I feel like I'm so behind the curve on those games that I just have no chance of getting in. But with Heroes of the Storm, I do feel behind, but I feel like, it makes sense, I guess, is what I'm trying to say. The
Yeah.
gameplay and everything.
Yeah, we talked a little before the show. It took me a little while to get into Heroes of the Storm. I just didn't get it at first. I played League and Dota a bunch. But once I understood what Heroes of the Storm was and how the strategies worked there, they were very different from the strategies that I was used to and trying to kind of force into Heroes of the Storm.
Yeah.
Once I figured it out, I had a lot more fun. So I'm playing that pretty much every night now.
There you go.
It's alternating between Heroes of the Storm, Hearthstone, and Elder Scrolls Online, pretty much. Those are the three things that are always on my screen.
That's not a bad routine there.
No, I'm loving life right now. The gaming life is good.
That's good.
So
I will say that MOBAs are made by the characters that you can play, I
that
feel.
is very true.
And with all of the lore, especially since they're combining Diablo and StarCraft and Warcraft, I mean, there's so much to pull from, and already the roster seems so robust that I feel like it's just something that you've got to jump into and try if you have any interest, Even if your interest is only in Hearthstone, they've got Sylvanas in there. I know they've got Gazlo. I'm sure there's some other Hearthstone characters.
Yeah, well, there's actually 4 Hearthstone characters that are
there?
heroes,
Okay.
which
Oh,
when I
yeah,
looked at it
Uther.
right now at the menu, it actually makes a plus sign. What conspiracy?
Ooh.
So Thrall,
Half-Life 3 confirmed.
Thrall, who's the Shaman champion, is in there. Uther, who's the Paladin champion. Malfurion, who's the Druid champion.
That's right.
And Jaina Proudmoore, the Mage champion. So if you play any of those, I mean, you get to see those guys whip out some sweet effects.
Might as well.
Yeah. So people that are saying, I hate this game, why are you telling me about it? Here you go. If you get to level 12 in that game, which actually doesn't take too long, maybe a week or two of playing, every now and then, you get a special card back. And the card back looks really cool. It's in the Heroes of the Storm style, which is kind of sci-fi fantasy. And if you win 100 play matches in Hearthstone, you get a Hearthstone card mount in Heroes of the Storm, which is basically it's like a flying carpet, right?
Yeah.
But it's the Hearthstone card, which is pretty cool. So you can win some sweet stuff.
And one of the skins for the Hearthstone card back mount is the Legend card back.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and I'm pretty sure you don't have to get Legend in Hearthstone in order to use it. So you can use it in Heroes and feel like you made Legend or something like that. I don't know.
And the other people in Heroes won't know any better. So you just tell them, I got it by being legendary. And they'll be like, whoa, cool, that's awesome.
You must be really good, man.
Yeah, let's never play. Just trust me. All right, let's get into our deck battle, Andrew, because it's 16 minutes into the show and we haven't fought yet, and that is unacceptable.
Get it. It's time.
All right. So just to remind people what deck battles are, we do these deck battle episodes about once a month. This is where the guest host, Andrew, brings on their favorite deck onto the show, breaks it down for you, tells you what cards they put in it, how it works, why they like playing it, and then they put their decks to the test and do battle against me in a best-of-3 series live on the show. The twist is that I always use the reigning champion deck of the show, which is the last deck that a guest host had brought onto the show and won with. So right now, the defending champion is Frid's Mech Shaman deck from last month, which, if you guys remember, he destroyed me with. It was embarrassing. But, like we said at the top of the show, Frid was a ringer, a pro player in disguise.
Not fair.
So if you want full details on what the Mech Mage deck is, Mech Shaman deck is, or how you can build it, you can always find all that info in episode 46, which is when he introduced it. You can find that on GameDiplomat.com. But this week, Andrew is stepping into the ring with his own deck, throwing down the gauntlet, saying, I can be a pro gamer too. Is that your battle cry?
That is my battle cry.
Awesome.
I am Legend. I am Will Smith. Oh, wait. No, wait. I don't know.
I am Legend. Look at my mount.
That's right.
So Andrew put together a full deck list along with substitute cards. So in case you can't build the deck the same way he did, if you don't have all the cards he used, some suggestions for, free and common cards you can use instead. And he kind of went through and explained why he made all the choices he did. It's super useful for trying out the deck yourself, which I hope you will. All that on GameDiplomat.com. All right, Andrew, tell me about your deck. What's it about?
Sure. Well, I call it the Bow to the King deck because when this thing works the way that it should, it always feels like I'm just telling my opponent to bow to the king. And it's a good feeling to be king, right?
It is, yeah.
And so the hope is that you can get there. It's a Warlock deck, and I thought we'd do Warlock since it hasn't been on the show in a while. And Warlock's been in kind of this funky phase, I feel, ever since Blackrock Mountain came out. Lots of people have gone back to Handlock, which is super effective, great deck. And a lot of people have been messing around with Demon Lock because the two class cards from Blackrock Mountain were very demon-centric. There's been this interesting hybrid that's been birthed out of this time, and it's this hybrid of Zoo and Demon Lock. And I thought it was so interesting that I'd bring my take on that here. So that's what we're going to be playing. So you'll see a lot of Zoo where there's lots of low-cost minions, but they're very strong minions, and you're trying to make effective trades with those guys. And then you'll see a lot of Demon Lock stuff, which mainly is about playing Void Collar, getting really big buff demons out on the board way earlier than you ever should have, and just wrecking shop. So Zoo establishes some control in the beginning stages of the game, and then Demon Lock just finishes it out and brings a heavy punch. So that's kind of what's going on.
Interesting. So how did you come across this deck? Were you playing Demon and just like, hey, maybe I don't need all these demons?
Yeah. Originally, I was going to bring just a pure Demon Lock deck because that's a lot of fun to play. But I was finding it was super inconsistent on the ladder. I would win 3 games and then I'd lose 6 games in a row, and it was so frustrating. And finally, I started realizing, wait, I need some early game. I thought, well, Zoo's got early game. What if I switch those out? And I noticed other people were doing the same thing. So that's kind of where the idea came from, and it's been much more consistent than just the straight Demon Lock for me, and a lot of fun to play.
Okay.
Very versatile deck.
Very cool. So are you running, is this still, because Zoo is pretty minion heavy.
Yes.
So is this a pretty minion heavy deck as well, or are you running stuff like Demon Fires and Demon Hearts?
No, it is very minion-centric. I think I've only got 4 or 5 spells in this whole deck, I think.
Wow, that's my kind of deck.
Yeah, well, come on, it's time, man. And the whole idea is that those first, 3 or 4 turns, you don't want to do anything but play minions. There are some switch cards, or tempo cards that we'll talk about, but for the most part, you just want to get a lot of people or a lot of demons on board and just flood the board and overwhelm your opponent.
Okay.
Yeah.
So what are some of the key cards specific? I mean, you mentioned Void Caller. Would you say that's
Yes,
key?
Absolutely. That's the linchpin of any Demon Lock deck.
Can you remind people what that does?
Yeah, absolutely. So it's a 4-cost demon minion. It's got 3 attack, 4 health, and it reads Death Rattle. Put a random demon from your hand into the battlefield. So the easiest thing to compare this to is Spider Tank, which is a 3-cost, 3/4 minion. So you're basically paying 1 extra for this Death Rattle effect. And there aren't any demons that cost any more than 1 mana. So the worst case scenario here is that you're getting equal value, right?
Yeah.
A Void Collar comes out of your hand, that's not ideal, but it's fine. Now, if anything else comes out, not only are you saving mana, but you're also bypassing their battle cry. And that's kind of the schematic with a lot of demons, is that they're very strong, but they cost you something in addition to the mana. So Flame Imp takes away 3 health from your hero. Doomguard, you have to discard cards. But with Void Collar, if it activates, because of how it's worded, that you put a random demon into the battlefield, there's no battle cry. So for 1 mana, you're putting a 5/7 demon with charge, in Doomguard, or Mal'Ganis gets out. I mean, it's like the fences got busted at the zoo, basically.
Yeah.
It's just ridiculous. So.
Okay, so how many demons are you running in this deck if it's not a Demon Lock deck? Like, do you find yourself running into situations where you have a Void Caller but no other demon?
Sometimes, but I would say it's pretty. It's pretty consistent that you have something in your hand, because you'll also tap sometimes to draw a card, so you're refreshing your hand pretty often. And you got Flame Imp, you got some Void Walkers, you got the other Void Caller, Mal'Ganis, Doomguard, Imp Gang Boss. So there's plenty of stuff that you can get in your hand, and it's just an off chance when you don't have something to play.
Okay.
So
What are some of the other key cards?
sure. So Implosion is one of the few spells that we do have in here. And Implosion's a 4-cost spell from GVG for Warlock. Reads deal 2 to 4 damage to a minion and summon a 1/1 imp for each damage dealt. So this is the definition of a tempo card because it does something against your opponent and for you, right?
Mm-hmm.
So you're doing both of those things all at once. And it can be pretty effective to flood your side with just these little guys because the rest of the deck has a lot of things that can augment those 1/1s with Abusive Sergeant, with Power Overwhelming, with Mal'Ganis. The 1/1s don't look threatening to your opponent, but they can sting later on if you get the right cards in play. So yeah, it's really quick.
Okay.
And just a tip: don't use this card on a minion with Divine Shield because that will do 0 damage, and it will summon 0 imps.
Oh, interesting. So it doesn't even attempt to do the damage; it's just
Right.
negated.
I had to learn that the hard way. So it will over affect a minion. So if you use it on a minion with 2 health, and it can do 3 or 4 damage, and it'll summon that many imps. But if it's Divine Shield, it does 0 damage and doesn't summon anything. So let my mistake be to your advantage.
Thank you very much.
Absolutely. Another card which is exciting. This is kind of my, really what was new for me that I wanted to try out in this deck was Volcanic Drake.
Ooh.
And you talked about that a couple episodes ago, so I don't want to beat a dead horse there, but it's a 6-cost dragon minion, 6 attack, 4 health, costs 1 mana less for each minion that died this turn. And when I first read that, I immediately thought of a Zoo deck, because in Zoo you're doing a lot of trading, and the hope is that you play one of these for anywhere from 0 to 2 mana, which happens quite often from my experience, and it can be devastating.
Yeah, I mean, you mentioned earlier that there's only 4, I think, spells in the whole deck, so you're going to have a lot of bodies on the board.
Mm-hmm. That's exactly right. And if you're using those bodies against your opponent, then something like this can just flip the board. Even if it took all of your mana to just completely clear the battlefield, now all of a sudden you've got 1 or 2 6/4s on board, and your opponent is thinking about hitting that concede button pretty fast. So, and then obviously Mal'Ganis. He is the king of the Bow to the King deck, So he's the 9-cost demon minion, legendary because he's very scary, and he has that Hearthstone, mount in Heroes of the Storm when he plays. He's 9 attack, 7 health, and then his effects are just crazy. Your other demons have +2/+2, and your hero is immune. This changes everything, right? Have you ever played against a Mal'Ganis before?
I have. I did yesterday where I was playing a Dragon Paladin. I was about to win with Consecrate. And then he dropped this guy down. And not only did it prevent, the final 2 damage to the enemy, it kept his other demons alive through the Consecrate that he had on the board, so I couldn't even clear the board. So I had to use Consecrate and Equality just to kill Mal'Ganis. It felt like such a waste.
That's frustrating. Yeah. The thing I love about him is that he changes everything. So all of a sudden, if you have to deal with him if you're the opponent. You can't go for face anymore if you're face hunter. You have to stop and take care of Mal'Ganis. So he can flip the board immediately. And he dies to big game hunter, but nah. Sometimes your opponent doesn't have big game hunter, so that's great.
Okay, very cool. I'm excited. This deck sounds pretty fun. I actually haven't run into this deck before, but I love Demon Warlock and Warlock in general, so I'm really excited to see how it goes.
We'll see if you're excited at the end of it.
Oh, man. You starting the trash talk right now?
I think it's time, man.
All right. Well, I'm using a deck built by a pro player, so...
Ooh.
And I've practiced with it like crazy because a few listeners rightfully pointed out that I could have won at least one of the games with the Mech Druid deck, I think, or it might have been the Mech Mage deck.
It was Mech Mage, yeah.
Mech Mage, yeah. If I had gone face more than trying to trade.
Okay.
So I had made a poor choice during that series. So I played with this guy a ton so I can make good choices and just get myself out of the control mindset and punch face. So your face will be punched, buddy.
Oh yeah, my face might be immune, and we'll see what happens.
Curse you, Mal'Ganis. All right, so we're going to go play a best of 3 series right now. And if our live stream works this time, you can watch it in its entirety in our show notes on GameDiplomat.com or on our Twitch channels, which we'll link in the show notes. And we'll be right back. All right, we are back after only 2 games. We didn't even need a full 3 to figure out the victor and the loser. Andrew, would you like to share how it went?
Sometimes it's just clear. Sometimes you just gotta bow to the king, my friend.
Oh, man. That makes it even worse. It's not bad enough that I lost. I gotta bow to kings. I'm an American, Andrew. We threw that off 250 years ago.
Yeah, but when you play Hearthstone, the rules have changed, my friend.
And now it's a Demon King.
That's right.
Oh, man. Yeah, and I only got to see the Demon King Mal'Ganis himself once as he flew out of your hand after you played, what's the 5/7 with charge? Doomguard to finish me off.
You know, the funny thing was I had him in my hand for both games, and I was just waiting to play him because I had Void Callers on board. He was ready to go, but the finisher just had to happen some other way, I guess. So.
So now you're just bragging. You had multiple ways to finish me, but you only needed one of them.
Well, but here's the thing, Josh. That first game, you were pummeling me. Like, I really didn't think I had a chance for a long, long time there. It wasn't until the very end I was able to turn it around. So that was out of desperation, not out of me being ahead or anything.
Yeah. So the first game, like, I got a great starting hand.
Boys, look who it is!
Whoa, sorry. The deck so I could reference cards, and I left the sound on, and that dwarf just blew out my eardrums.
That's no good.
All right, so my starting hand was awesome. I had, it's the dream starting hand where I drew the Whirling Zap-O-Matic, I had the Annoyatron, I had the Cogmaster, and I had the Flame Tongue Totem. But boy, that Flame Tongue Totem stuck in my hand till the end, and that was what I got. I think I had you down to 3 health.
Yeah. 3 or 4.
I had it down to 3 health, but like I got to the point where all I had in my hand was Flame Tongue Totem and one of the weapons, right? But I had to use the weapons to like punch, and I got you down to 3, and my weapon broke, and all I had was Flame Tongue Totem. It's just like this disaster. What is like, no, just 1 minion is all I needed. 1 minion with 1 attack. I can drop down the Flame Tongue Totem and win, but I couldn't get it.
Not quite.
Oh man, that Knife Juggler in that game did crazy work.
Well, and I think that was the problem. I was expecting you to take him out with your Cogmaster earlier in the game, but you leave those Knife Jugglers on board with any aggro deck, and they will start mopping up some kills real fast.
Yeah, I probably should have. I think I went too far the extreme this time, where I was like, no, I'm going face. I'm not traded. I'm not traded.
Go. That's right.
But I gotta say, so your second game was incredible. I gotta say, when I had 4 creatures on the board, and you could proc Knife Juggler twice, and they killed my Whirling Zap-O-Matic, both them hit him. I shed a tear right there.
Yeah, you should have. That wasn't fair for you at all.
Yeah, when that happened, like I was talking on the stream, I was like, okay, he's got a Knife Juggler. I mean, all right, there's like a 20% chance it hits it even once, and then all of a sudden it's like dink, dink, and I was no way. What are the odds of that? If any mathematician or anyone with a high school degree is listening, please tell me that.
That's right.
So, all right. So, how did you feel your deck went? Because it seemed like you got off to a pretty slow start in game 1. Was that a bad start for your deck?
The second game was a little bit better for me, I think. Honestly, I think that my strategy going into this was not really much of a strategy. It was kind of who's going to draw the best. Because if you get a great starting hand, then we're good. Then you're good, and same for me. And when I saw that you had used your hero power on turn 2, I was like, he doesn't have anything. So
yeah,
I just kept on drawing those low cost minions, and that's exactly what you want. Be able to play a Flame Imp, be able to play a Void Caller, Or a Void Walker. So it definitely worked out. I don't think I even played any spells. Did I?
No, I kept waiting. Like when I had at the start of the game, I had Cogmaster, Annoyatron,
Mm-hmm.
and the Whirling Zaphomatic down. I was like, oh my god, I hope he doesn't have the demon. What is Demon Wrath?
Yes.
Do you?
Yes.
So are you running that in your deck?
I did put one in there just to try it out. And it usually does work pretty well because I've got a lot of demons and you've got the Nerubian eggs, which pops them. I did have it in my hand at the very end, but I got pretty ahead on that second game, so I didn't necessarily need it. The thing that was interesting to me was that I got to play Volcanic Drakes in both games, and they did work this time.
Yeah, I had my Hex in my hand,
Right,
but I also had
right.
Doctor Boom, and it's hitting turn 7. I still had like 12 health or something, so I was like, okay, as long as he doesn't drop anything big, because he only had like 1 or 2 mana left.
Right,
I
right.
was like, all right, as long as he doesn't drop something big, I can play Doctor Boom. I can get board control back. I can stabilize. And then all of a sudden, that stupid 6/4 comes down for 1 mana or whatever it was.
Exactly what you don't want.
Yeah, and it's like, well, I'm doing Hex and the Cog Weapon or
Yeah.
Power Mace because those were the only things in my other hand that I could play. Oh
That's all you
man,
can do.
that both turns. I think so. I think you played it for like 1 mana
Mhm.
in the first game and maybe 2 or maybe 3 in the second game. It was
Yeah.
cheap both times.
Yeah, I've been really surprised because just looking at the card itself, it doesn't look like you're really going to do much with it most of the time. But especially with this kind of deck where you've got a lot of minions on board, I think the time I got it down to 1, I had like 5, creatures, most of them 1/1s or 2/1s. And so at that point, my thought process was, well, these guys can't do much on their own anyway. I'd rather have a 6/4 on the board. And they made a way. They made a way for Volcanic Drake to come out and play.
Yeah, it's pretty brutal. So, all right. So, I'm curious with your deck now. Is it? It seems mid-rangey. Is that
Mhm.
the goal?
Yeah, the goal with the early game is to establish board control so that in the mid game you can just rush really fast. So it doesn't necessarily become a face deck at that point, but you should have set yourself up so that you can do that. And whenever you should go face, you need to go face, So,
Yeah.
and then at that point, you're so far ahead that your opponent has no other choice but to bow.
So some other cards, I'm just curious if they're in here because they're in my
Yeah.
Demon Lock deck that I get a lot of value out of.
Okay.
Mistress of Pain.
I do not have Mistress of Pain, and that's mostly because she's such a slow card. She does really good if you have some of those box spells you mentioned earlier, like Demon Wrath or stuff like that. But just on her own as a 1/4, I mean, she'll trade against some minions if you're going up against a Face Hunter or something like that. But that's about the only real value she brings to play.
Okay.
So.
And what about Floating Watcher? Too slow?
Yeah, a little bit too slow. You don't, because Floating Watcher is what, 5 costs? Is that right?
Yeah, 5 cost, 4/4. And then
Yeah.
whenever your hero takes damage on your turn, gain +2/+2.
Yeah, it's a really strong card, but the problem is you need the strong right from the get-go. And I actually did put Floating Watcher in the sub list if you don't have some of the legendary cards for this deck, because Floating Watcher is a great card, but it's not an ideal card for this kind of deck.
Okay. And is that similar with Dread Infernal?
Yes, yeah. Dread Infernal does. I mean, his battle cry to deal 1 damage to everyone is really good at controlling the board. But by turn 6, you should be killing them at that point.
Yeah.
You don't want to be trying to take care of all those little pesky 1/1s. And with the imps that you get from Implosion and stuff like that, you're also killing your own guys at that point. So you don't necessarily want that.
Okay. And then, so I saw you were running Nerubian Egg, and in one of the games you used Power Overwhelming on it.
Yeah,
which
that's
is a
right.
classic combo. Are you
course.
running anything else that can kill it, or are you just relying solely on that?
I've run 1 Abusive Sergeant in there, I think.
Okay.
And then I've got Demon Wrath that can pop it. I feel like there might be one other thing, but I can't remember what it is. Normally, it's enough that you got Defender of Argus also that you can
Oh
slap
yeah.
right on either side of it. So there's quite a few ways to proc it, and I I'm never playing a Nerubian egg unless I have a way to get rid of it, get
Yeah.
that 4/4 that's just its heart is beating inside that egg. So,
Yeah. There's something nice about getting power overwhelming, and then it's like a 4/4, and then it turns into a new 4/4 afterwards.
hmm
It's nice.
hmm Wait, and I did see some people running Void Terror because that's the insane combo right there. When you
Yeah.
use power overwhelming and get to keep that 4/4, I mean that's crazy. But I couldn't really find a place for it in this deck.
Okay. Just again, kind of too slow.
Yeah, very fun. If you just want to have fun, man, do
Yep.
Void Terror all day.
Yep. I'm running 2 of those in my Demon Lock deck. It is
Oh, that's
such
awesome.
good fun.
Yeah.
Especially, yeah. Are you running Shadow Flame as well?
No, I'm not. Originally, when I was doing the Demon Lock, I think Shadow Flame's really good for a Demon Lock deck. But again, you're doing so much trading early in the game
Yeah.
that you don't really have a need for the area of effects. Even the Demon Wrath that I have in here, I don't think is really necessary. It's just kind of um, it just adds some spice to it, and
Yep.
I wanted to try it out since it's a new card. So, yeah, Shadow Flame's extremely powerful, though. I mean, Handlock and Shadow Flame, you're just killing everybody. So,
Yeah. Cool. So one last card, because I'm really excited about this deck. I'm excited. I'm going to build it right after the show.
Cool.
One card that I've actually had a lot of luck with Cult Master with, because of cards like Imp Explosion and Imp Gang Boss
Sure,
that create
yeah.
the tokens, which you obviously were creating a lot of tokens in our matches, is
Yeah.
Cult Master. And especially since you're trading so much, how do you feel about that card?
I feel like Cult Master. I think you were arguing for it in the last show or something like that too. It's something recent. I think everything that you said about the card is absolutely true, and it's kind of one of those unsung heroes because its effect is extremely powerful, even if you could just proc it, one time. But with a deck like this, you're obviously going to get a few of it. So I think it's powerful. I think that you're going to do that, but I don't think it's really necessary for the strategy of the deck. I don't normally find myself needing cards, and most of the time I'm only tapping if I don't have cards that work. If my hand's filled with Doom Guards and Mal'Ganis and it's turn 4,
Yeah.
then I'll tap and hopefully I'll get a Nerubian Egg or an Owl or Knife Juggler or something. I find that those are the times when I'm drawing. I'm not usually anemic with my hand. So I don't know. It'd be interesting to run it because this is the kind of deck you want to run a Cult Master in, where you're doing a lot of trading and stuff like that. So I'd be interested to see how that turns out.
All right, maybe since I have a month till the next show, I'll try swapping it in, especially if I'm missing, because I actually don't have a Mal'Ganis
Okay.
right now. So
Okay.
how key do you think that is? Do I need to start buying packs and get dust so I can craft that?
I think Mal'Ganis is really cool and really fun, but I don't think he's essential. I mean, the 2 games we played just proved it. I couldn't even get him out on board, So I think you can replace him with another heavy demon like the ones we mentioned, Dread Infernal or Floating Watcher or something like that. I think something like that really satisfies just a heavy demon that you can get in there.
Okay. All right. Phew. That's good. Phew. All right.
No card pack shopping sprees or anything like that.
Cool. So I'm really excited to try this deck. Like I mentioned, Demon Lock, I've mentioned on a few shows, has been my favorite deck for a while now, along with Dragon Paladin. So I'm excited to try this new variant because, clearly it looked really strong. It felt like, and this is how it feels like when you play against good decks, right? Where it felt like you had an answer to everything I was trying to do. Every minion I threw down, you played like a perfect counter minion to it.
Sure. And that's what you hope for, is that you have enough tools in your hand to really stop them. And I knew I had to do that with Mech Shaman, because if you don't get something in the way, it'll be like that first game for the first half where you're just destroying everything,
Yep. All right. So any other advice for people that are going to check out your deck after the show? Any tips?
I think it's a lot of fun. I mean, I think the coolest thing about it is just how versatile it is. Other than this, there's kind of the hybrid hunter that's been going around. That's like a little bit of face, a little bit of mid range, and I haven't played that one as much, but I think what's fun about these hybrid decks is that they play how you need them to, and you never know who you're going to come up against in a match on the ladder. So coming in with something like this where you can just, do it on the fly, and figure out what's best for your opponent is really, really strong. So yeah, give it a try. Hope you guys like it.
Very cool. So all that is going to be on GameTipMatt.com. Like I said before the match, Andrew wrote up a great explanation for all the cards he did and tips for how to use each of them in the deck. So definitely check that out. I will definitely be building it right after the show.
I hope you have fun with it, Josh.
Me too. Hope I win with it. It's been too long. I need to win.
It's about time.
All right. So no question this week, but we do have the first donation to the show. So Scott technically donated so I could buy those packs, right? Because he was just appalled that I was going to buy the dungeon with gold.
Mm-hmm.
But Ben actually wrote in. He says, no need to read on the show. Sorry, Ben. I'm reading it. It's my first donation. I'm excited. He said, just want to express some appreciation for your podcast. I've been playing about 2 months, hitting rank 12. I'm terrible, but love the game and want to get better. And going back and listening through all your old episodes has been very helpful. Thanks for the shows. I'll donate again. Wait for it. This is a promise. If you can guide me to a 12-win arena run.
Ooh.
So if we got any arena superstars out there, I know you were saying you played a lot of arena, Andrew. Have you hit the 12-win?
My highest has been 10, which I feel I'm pretty proud of that. That's good. But I'm with Ben, where it's like that elusive 12-win. It's just like, oof. I gotta get that, and I might have some tips for him later. So we'll talk about that.
Okay, all right. So we'll find a way to do it. I don't know how. We're gonna do it because the best I've gotten is 11. So I got super close.
Dang, that's really good.
Yeah, I got the molten key sitting there taunting me though, because it's not the 12 key. It's so close.
It's true.
So if there are any arena superstars on the show that want to help me get a donation, let's get some tips on the show. Let's do an arena tips episode so Ben can hit 12 wins and donate $12 million to the show.
Wow, that's a hefty donation.
It is. Hey, Ben is a nice guy.
Well, I guess he promised it. So
he promised it. Yeah. See, I'll just edit the text right now in the show notes to add $12 million.
There you go.
And now, it's in the show notes. I think it's official.
What can you do?
Yeah. Sorry, Ben. You're booked. All right, let's talk about our card of the week. Oh, ho! I almost forgot.
You almost forgot.
Yeah, I was just gonna read the card, but that's not how this works.
That isn't how it works.
No. Do you have a song prepared? You don't sound nervous at all.
This is a key part to the Happy Hearthstone experience, I feel.
It is.
So I feel like I would be foolish to not at least be ready to go.
Okay.
This.
Well, what if I changed it on you and gave you a genre you had to sing in right now?
Oh, well then I'd be up for the challenge.
I want folk.
Ooh.
Yeah. Make me feel like I'm in a country barn house.
Here we go. Okay.
If you could do some like jug blowing too, that'd be awesome.
If I had a jug, I have nothing around me, but I can.
I thought you were going to be prepared for this show, Andrew.
Card of the week. Card of the week. We're gonna sing, we're gonna play, we're gonna have some fun today. It's a card of the week.
Andrew, that is, I don't want to diss any past guests on the show, but that is the best card of the week song we have ever had on this show.
With jug included.
Yeah. Wow. That was like invisible jug too, even more impressive.
I mean, someone's got to bring it. So,
dude, that was amazing. I can't believe we didn't save this for episode 50 next week.
Oh, oof.
Man, that was awesome. Well
thank
done.
you.
Are you a singer of any kind?
I was in I was a music education major early in college, actually. So I did take some classes and stuff. A little bit of a musician on the side, but
well, it's finally paying off, buddy. I can tell you right now.
If there was anything that it was preparing me for in life, it was definitely for the card of the week. So
yeah, are they doing Happy Hearthstone card of the week classes at universities yet for the music majors?
I'll have to double check. Okay. Maybe I'll start that.
Yeah,
but we'll
I
see.
feel like you could probably get a partial refund on your tuition if they didn't offer that.
Brings so much value to the
Yeah.
table.
We'll make sure it gets in the next alumni newsletter, though. Card of the Week
That's
star
good.
from
That's good.
whatever school you were from. All right, so what is the card of the week, Andrew?
So the card of the week is Bane of Doom, which has been around for a while, but we'll talk about how it's changed up a little bit. It's a 5-cost Warlock spell, so it wasn't in my deck, but it's a great pick for a Demon Lock deck. And it reads, deal 2 damage to a character. If that kills it, summon a random demon.
Yeah. So how random is this random demon? Do we have any idea?
It's much better than it was,
Okay.
basically, random-wise. So up until Blackrock Mountain was released, Bane of Doom would only summon one of 6 demons. It says any demon, but it wasn't. It was either a Blood Imp, a Void Walker, Flame Imp, Dread Infernal, Succubus, or Felguard. And Dread Infernal is really the only powerful one out of those.
Yeah.
Everything else is kind of ugh. So it was a pretty terrible card, honestly, up until that patch. And in that patch, now it's actually doing what it says, which is summon a random demon, which is any collectible demon, including Mal'Ganis, including Jiraxxus, anything.
So does Jiraxxus hit the board, but the battle cry doesn't go off?
That's right. Yeah. So he's just a minion on the board, which is the same thing if you have him in your hand and you have Void Caller.
Oh yeah, cheat him out.
Mm-hmm. And a 3-attack, 15 health minion is extremely powerful. You want to talk about trading?
Yeah.
He can trade like crazy.
He will trade for days.
That's right.
Very
So,
cool. Okay,
yeah.
that's super interesting. So the
It's
card
kinda-
is a lot better now. I wondered why I started to see it a lot more. Because I have been playing against it a lot more, and I didn't know what kind of triggered that. Because I didn't know that they had actually changed that.
Yeah, that's exactly it. It's kind of, I mean, when you think about it, the 2 damage, that's about, they're spells that'll do that for 1 mana. So really, you're paying 4 mana to summon a random demon. And again, that whole list from before, everything was like 1 or 2 mana.
Yeah.
But now you can get a Jiraxxus on the board for 4 mana, Mal'Ganis on the board for 4 mana, even a Floating Watcher for 4 mana. It's not bad,
Yeah.
because he doesn't have to be in your deck. This just summons a random demon.
Yeah, and,
So-
and like you were kind of mentioning earlier, even a lot of the demons that are cheaper than 4 mana, so something like a Felguard or a Succubus, they're cheaper than 4 mana, but that's because their cost is really in their battle cry effect,
That's right. Yeah,
which you're
Pit
also
Lord.
getting around here.
Yeah.
Pit Lord,
And
yeah.
Yeah, it's really nice. The only thing that really confuses me, and maybe you can help me, if it does deal 2 damage to a character, I've always been confused, because you want to kill something with this card in order to get the demon effect. So why wouldn't they just say deal 2 damage to a minion?
So it's there because it is extra flexibility, right? Like,
Mhm.
if I'd had it in the game against you, where it's like, oh, okay, if you had 3 health left, I could use it to finish you off if I had something else.
Yeah.
I I agree that the cases where you wouldn't use it on a minion is super low.
Mhm.
But hey, I mean, I would rather every card say character than minion, just because
I
it's
guess that's
extra
fair.
flexibility.
Yeah. And if that's what you have in your hand, and with it you can win the game, then
Yeah.
more power to you.
Yeah, I mean, I guess you could kind of say it's almost a trap, right? Because you shouldn't be doing it.
Sure.
And maybe new players would be like, oh, well, I'll just punch him in the face because that's cool. Man, I wonder if you win the game with it, if it still summons a random demon, just afterwards as like a taunt.
Like in slow-mo.
Yeah, wouldn't that be
I
cool?
know.
Like out of the
If
corner,
Mal'Ganis
Mal'Ganis
just
shows up.
Oh, I want to see that. That'd be awesome.
Dude, Mal'Ganis would basically be showing up to watch your victory. He's like,
That's
I heard
right.
my BFF is about to destroy your face, so I showed up just to watch.
Oh, you didn't need me to win? Oh.
Oh, well, that's
poor
how I felt when he
Mal'Ganis.
flew across the screen when you threw him away with the Doom card
That's
to
right.
finish me off. I had this,
It's
but I
secret.
don't need to be here.
Nah.
Andrew's got this covered. I'm out.
Why not?
All right, so would you play this in a handlock or any other kind of deck, or is it really just in Demon Lock?
I think Demon Lock, you get the synergy. Handlock is so particular in the cards that you want to play in that deck that I don't know that there's much room for anything, honestly, outside of what you normally see there. But the fact that it's, it's that tempo card again, where it's, belittling your opponent and strengthening you. That kind of can fit into any deck. I wouldn't run more than one of this in any deck because it's a high risk, high reward.
Yeah.
But it's obviously at home in a Demon Lock deck, no question.
Okay, cool. Yeah, I'll have to. I actually don't have this in my Demon Lock right now because I actually don't own the card.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah, so I may craft that and add that in.
That'd be fun.
Yeah, because I totally missed the change. I must have missed the patch notes where it can summon any demon now. That's awesome.
It was a little something they threw in that really changed it. I mean, it was unusable before, and now it's actually a pretty fun card to play.
Yeah, it's cool. I mean, just the potential to get 2 of the same legendary minion down there is pretty cool. Like
2 Mal'Ganises is gonna do some destruction.
Yeah, dude. Your other demons have +2/+2, so they each get +2/+2, and all the other ones get +4/+4.
So you've got 2 11/9s, and your hero's double immune, which I don't even know what that means. But...
it cancels it out, so you actually just immediately die.
Oh, that's not good.
Oh, maybe it's like unbreakable, right? So like it's super fragile, so you take double damage.
Oh, yikes.
It's messed up.
I got bad fast.
All right, so thank you. So I guess we're going to have full show notes. If you want to check out Andrew's deck, that's going to be on GameDiplomat.com. Swing by, click on Hearthstone at the top, you'll get it. Let us know what you thought of the show. We always want to know what topics you want us talking about, if you liked our current topic, what decks you want to see featured, all that sort of good stuff. You can contact us on Google+, Happy Hearthstone. There's a big community there just talking Hearthstone all the time, not even about this podcast, just about the game. So swing by there. I'm sure there's a thread right now talking about all the dwarfs that the new hero could be. I should go there and look. And then bet all of them, too. You can contact me on Twitter. I'm at jaugustine. You can email me, ajosh@outlook.com, or just, leave a comment on the blog, gamediplomat.com. Andrew, where can people find you and the things that you do?
Absolutely. Well, I don't have a lot out there. I mean, kind of like I said at the top of the show, I'm an everyman when it comes to Hearthstone. But I did put up some tips for Arena that might help out Ben or anyone else out there who's looking to get better at Arena. And we'll put the link in the show notes, probably easiest there. But if you search for my old screen name, which was Banaka Freak, Hearthstone Arena tips, you'll probably find me. And I've got a few things that, again, not from a pro player, but things that have helped me to get better that I think could be helpful. And one of the videos that I'm most proud of on there is the one thing that I did to go from a 0-win run to an 8-win run immediately.
What?
So you probably want to check that out because it's worth it. It's just a simple little tip, but so check that out. And if you want to find me on Twitter, I'm at AndrewIsLiving. Usually not tweeting about Hearthstone, but if you want to find my musings on life, then the deep thoughts of the world I'm there. So
will you sing songs for people that follow you, like the Card of the Week song?
Maybe. Okay. I probably won't let them choose the genre. That was just for you, Josh. But,
Thank you. I feel special.
But sure.
Awesome. Cool. Well, Andrew, thank you very much for coming on the show and representing your deck spectacularly.
Thanks for having me, man. It was a lot of fun.
Yeah, it's really fun. So, again, all the links to Andrew's stuff will be in the show notes, so you can follow him on Twitter, check out his YouTube, learn how to be an arena superstar.
Do it.
And, Andrew, we'll have to have you on again on the show sometime.
Be amazing.
Awesome. So, thank you, Andrew. One last time for coming on the show.
Thank you, Josh.
And thanks, everyone, for visiting Happy Hearthstone and having a little fun with us. We'll see you next time.
Thanks for watching the video, everybody. Don't forget to check out all the other podcasts at MMOreporter.com or by clicking on any of the links here. And please check out our Patreon campaign at patreon.com/MMOreporter. Thanks, everyone, and see you in game.